take from my bed to the floor? 5, 6, 7, 8. Will today be rough or will today be great? 9, 10, 11, 12. Lately I've been going through hell. 13, 14, 15, 16. Today's the day. Are you coming? Are you sick of being normal? I'm sick of being average. I'm sick of being mortal. I'm about to be a savage. I see a lot of things that I want, I will have them. I got a new mindset that I just established. I'll march through the cold with the nails on the pavement. I'll shovel that coal just to get out the basement. My story will be told, helping others make changes. I'll be so bold, they will watch in amazement.
Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it? Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it?
Foot up on the pedal, pushing hard to the metal. Make a deal with the devil. Channel rage through my vessel into something that is special. Energy of a rebel, going up a level. I just wanna be greatness. I could feel changes, turn a new page and tie up my laces. I will be the bravest, break out of my cages. I will not be nameless, I will not be aimless.
Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it? Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start or will I keep waiting? Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it?
Nothing can stop me. No. 'Cause I'm addicted to what you and I realize. Lead the way, I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow to the edge of it all. So tell your good night, 'cause I'll find a better one, yeah.
is going on, Locked In Nation? What is going on? Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 229. We are back on the mic tonight. Let's welcome in a returning guest, essentially almost one of the creators here at the podcast, Chirs Mithcell. What's up, brother? Thanks for coming on, bro.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. This is an honor to be back on a mic with you, man. I mean, we'll see who we all get in here tonight. A lot of the guys were tentative, so just going to make the announcement in the promo. We had Rob, Mario, and Tom. Likely, I know Mario and Rob are not going to be coming. Tom, I'm assuming probably not too. And we'll see about Chris, but it might just be me and you, but that's all right. We'll see if Chris comes in here too. So essentially what we're talking about tonight, the Philadelphia Phillies. And this is going to be the last, sports one for a little bit, but we have the next 4 episodes lined up as personal growth. So we're going to hop into this tonight. Phillies are they're about to launch their playoff run on Saturday. This is Saturday. I have to look at the time if it's 6 or 6:30, but nonetheless, it's going to be an interesting matchup. Dodgers are a hell of a team, defending champs. I think this is going to be a close series. I would not doubt it goes 5 games, but I think I do believe the Phillies can win this one. They are the favorite. I think minus 127 is what I saw on the line to open up this one. And I'll be honest, I've been watching a lot of highlights for the Phillies this year because 162 games, it's a lot of games, but I've been keeping up. And it's exciting. They have the roster to really do some damage here. Even without Zach Wheeler, their ace, they have a roster to do some serious damage. So I'm excited to see it. Dodgers, like I said, that's a hell of a first-round matchup, to be honest. You get one of the hardest teams in the NL to face off early. And then the Brewers are awaiting, I think, the winner of the Padres and the Cubs series, which is 1-1. So whoever wins that one tonight will face the Milwaukee Brewers. But I'm excited to hop into this one with you, man. I'll say before we do hop into it, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, you're not already subscribed, you already know what to do. You see that little subscribe button in the corner? Hit that subscribe button. And then there's a little bell right next to that. Hit that little bell to turn those notifications on because we release content every single week, typically Thursdays around 7:30, related to either personal growth or sports. If either of those 2 topics align with you, you don't want to miss this content. On Facebook, like I always say, I'm assuming you're already part of the community if you are seeing the video on that page. So thank you for that. Still, hit the like button on YouTube and Facebook. Really helps us out with the algorithm there. If you're commenting on Facebook or YouTube, appreciate that as well. Join into the discussion here tonight, guys. YouTube, I can put you up on the screen. Facebook, I can read your comments out loud. With that being said, enjoy the pod tonight, guys. So, man, I'm curious to get your take on this, man. We got the divisional round here. Dodgers, man. What's your just initial thoughts just going into this series?
Yeah, man, it's definitely going to be a tough battle. Dodgers are not a team to scoff at. They're not pushover by any means. They have one of the best hitters in the game. But I do believe where you're coming from, when you say, hey, look, Phillies have hitters too. Phillies got some, they're on a good roll right now. I think that they'll be able to make some noise in the playoffs. The thing is, though, we got to play up to our standard, and I think that's all for some reason with all Philly teams. I mean, including the Eagles, even though Eagles still banging out the wins. We don't always play to the standard that we know we should play. And I would put Philly in that same the Phillies in that same category as we just have to play like we're in Red October, because we're in Red October. You know what I mean? So I don't know any other way to put it. The Phillies got to show up, man. And that's going to be the difference maker. They can win. If they show up, they can. I have no doubt in my mind that Phillies can win if they show up. But they got to show up, and that's the thing.
That's like with any sport, right? Yeah. I agree with you, man. They have, like I said, they have the roster to beat anybody. realistically. You know what I mean? I really do believe that even without Zach Wheeler, the starting pitching has been good for the Phillies. Like they have the roster to really do it, and even with Duran now, on the back end and in the bullpen and closing, we have a roster that can really win. I think where we have struggled, it hasn't even been the pitching in past years. It's been the hitting going cold at times. We've seen Castellanos get very hot in the playoffs and then go very cold another series. And he's not the only one. Last year we had issues with Trey Turner. We had issues with JT Realmuto. Both of them. I would say Brandon Marsh too, although he's not like one of the main starters anyway. But I would say Trey Turner and JT really didn't show up batting wise in the playoffs last year. And that really, really hurt us. The 2 years before last year was a really magical run. Especially 2022, nobody had any expectations for the Phillies. You go in, you beat Atlanta, and then you go and you play the Padres, and you pretty much take care of them in 5. I believe it was 5 games. So I think it was 5. It almost went to 6, but it was 5 games. And then you go and you play the Astros, a team that had already been a World Series champion, right? Minus all the cheating stuff. They did win one without the, all that. And then you go and you play the Astros, and you're looking like you might win that series. You're up 2-1. Everybody's going nuts because they had a crazy game, and then Christian Javier comes on the mound in Game 4, throws the no-hitter, and then it just kind of completely shifted the momentum of that series, and the Phillies losing 6 games. They don't win another game after going up 2-1. But nobody had expectations for the Philadelphia Phillies that year. It was a magical year. It was a magical run. But if they would have pulled it off, it would have kind of been out of nowhere. Whereas the next year, now you got expectations. You go into 2023 and you win that. You beat the Braves. You beat the Braves, and then you go in and you play. I think they played the Marlins, the Braves, and then you go and you play the Diamondbacks. And, you go in to play the Diamondbacks in that series, and that's a series they absolutely should have won. Again, up 3-2 in the series, and then you lose your last 2 games at home. That was very disappointing because it's a team you should have beat. As good as the Rangers were that year, there's no guarantee you win the World Series because the Rangers were really good and they took care of Arizona. But I don't know, man. Like those 2 years were still fun. They were fun years. And last year was just a complete disappointment. You lose to the Mets. You get the first round bye, so you don't play in the wild card round just like we did this year. And then you play the Mets. And that's a team that you thought you should have beat, but they got hot at the right time, I guess, and you lose to the Mets. And they didn't look good last year in the playoffs. So I'm really hoping we don't repeat history with this bye. It seems like every year we don't get the bye. It seems like they go further. The Dodgers are not an easy team. This is not an easy first-round matchup by any means whatsoever. I would actually say, I don't know, man. The Brewers and the Dodgers are both tough. You got the top. You got if the Brewers aren't the toughest team, it's the Dodgers. So you're getting outside of the Phillies, you're getting a very tough team to start. I would say arguably the toughest team you could get, maybe the Brewers. But Brewers, I think, won the season series against us. Dodgers, when I looked, we won 4-3 out of 7 games. So that shows you it's a close matchup, 4-3. We had the edge, but it was still that close, which is why I could see this being a 5-game series. This could be going 5. The good thing is we got the home field at Citizens Bank Park. So Game 5 would be in Philly if that is the case.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm confident. They just play different. It's just a different atmosphere over in Philadelphia. If we were playing in LA, I might be a little bit more, cautious about how I feel about this game. But I just feel like, Phillies are going to push the issue. I felt like after that Mets game where we got swept, it was kind of like a new low for us, and we kind of had to come back and bounce back. And the next time, as you know, when we played the Mets the next time, we won 3 straight. So I felt like that gave the team a lot of confidence back. I think that's where the hitting kind of got focused and put on the forefront of the organization as a major issue. We did, make some trades and things, and tried to put some players together into this roster, into this the batting lineup, and I think it's starting to pay off. I think they're starting to settle down. Let's talk about the new pickups at batting. Who do you want to talk about first?
Um, I guess Bader maybe. I mean, we got Bader. He was the most. I think he was the most. He was one of our more recent ones. We had him. We got him like around the same time we got Durant. You know, he's been pretty solid to be honest. Bader. You know, I'll be honest. Trey Turner's looked pretty good too. You know, down the stretch. You know, as well. I'm hoping he can come into the playoffs this year with a different type of edge. You know what I mean? I mean, he struggled last year. Yeah, I think this is a good roster. Castellanos obviously struggled. You know, they sent him down and they brought him back up, but he definitely struggled at points in the season for sure. I think this could be his last year here. And then Schwarber's been Schwarber. Bryce has been Bryce. You know, I think he was the second in home runs, but Schwarber had an amazing year. He was 56 home runs. You know, obviously we know what Kyle Schwarber can do.
Yeah.
So let's actually break down the roster. So I have some of the stuff here. So for the Phillies, who were the people we're looking at here? So the Phillies, we have some player insights here. You know, like I said, Schwarber, 56 homers, 132 RBIs, killed it for the team this year. He was definitely the, you know, second in home runs behind what was his name? Cal Raleigh, I think was number one. He was number one, and then you had Schwarber at 56. I think Cal Raleigh had 60 homers, if I'm not mistaken. But then Schwarber was the first in RBIs, though. 132 RBIs is ridiculous. 100 RBIs is ridiculous, let alone 132. Crazy. Trey Turner, though, had the club leading batting average this year at he was batting 304. And so he was killing it this year. And then Harper had 32 doubles, 27 homers. I think Harper was second on the team in homers behind Schwarber. And then he had 70 walks, which is crazy. And Schwarber had a lot of walks too, even more than that, I believe. Bryson Stott, you know, these are the guys we're looking at for the Phillies here. And if we look at the Dodgers, you know, obviously we have Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani is Ohtani. We already know that. He is going to be a tough out. I actually saw that game after Ohtani had hit, what was it, yesterday? And then Mookie Betts. They had a crazy, like, eighth, I think it was like a sixth inning yesterday where they blew the game open. It was like 3-2, and the next thing you know, it was 7-2. Ohtani, yeah, Mookie Betts behind him, who had a good game. Freddie Freeman as well. Their lineup is, like, crazy with, like, power with the bats. And I bet you there's going to be a lot of people out there, and, like, the sports news are probably not going to pick us to win the series, too. But yeah, don't ever estimate the Phillies in Red October. I'm going to be honest. Citizens Bank Park is like one of the hardest stadiums to play in for opposing teams. And the Phillies had the best home record this year out of every team. The Phillies had the best home record. So yeah, the Brewers had a better record than us overall, but they had a better road record. That's why we have a better home record than them. Best home record.
Yeah, that goes back to my point, man. Happy to be in Philly Red October. There are some things that we you know, I agree with you on. The Schwarber is definitely a dog. He's definitely going to get his hits during this series. So is Ohtani, right? So it's just about being smart. The situational awareness thing, I think, is a really big thing with the Phillies and not making mistakes or errors. And you know, let's not make easy plays hard.
I agree. You don't want to beat yourself ever. You know what I mean? I think the pitching should be pretty stout. It's gonna be the bats, man. I just think that we can't afford too many players to go cold. See, if one player goes cold or two, you can be all right. But last year we had issues all over the place with just tons of players going cold, like the whole middle of the lineup and towards the end where they just went ice cold. And you can't have that. You can't put it all on Bryce and Kyle. You know what I mean? Kyle, like Schwarber and Harper can't be the only ones to show up in this series. We need Trey Turner to continue that batting average. I'm going to be honest. I need to see more out of Alec Boehm, too, in the playoffs. He's had his struggles in the playoffs, too. So we need Alec Boehm to step up. We need Stott to step up. We need JT. I know JT's older. You need JT. We need them all. All hands on deck. If one of the guys goes down, Castellanos, too. Like I said, Castellanos is notorious. Like, he had, like, a great series against the Braves 2 years ago. And against the freaking Diamondbacks, he was ice cold. Like, I mean, like a ton of strikeouts. Like, and that's the problem. It's just inconsistency. Like, he seems like he always kills it against the Braves. Well, you're not playing the Braves this year, so it's going to be, I have all the confidence that the Phillies can beat the Dodgers, though, because like I said, we beat them during the season series too, and
We did. We definitely did. We
they are
just need,
defending champs.
when we get those advantages, when we get those big hits, when we get the score where we're one or two ahead, like that's where we can't let up or we can't play conservative or defensive or just play nice ball with them. And like I said, situational awareness, especially with the pitching. I don't remember which pitcher this was, if it was Sanchez or um if it was Sanchez or if it was oh, what's the one with the doping? Sorry, I had a brain fart. The one that's not playing the playoffs.
Oh, Alvarado.
It was either Alvarado or Sanchez. Someone had two uh strikes and they had one ball and it was already two outs and then we were only ahead by one and they threw this fastball down the middle and it got hit out for a home run. Like situations like that where you could kind of get them to chase instead of just throwing a fastball right down the middle. And you can afford you can afford to give up a strike in that situation. In that situation, excuse me, you can afford to give up a ball in that situation. Like you can't throw fastballs down the middle when you still got room to allow you know for you know like you got two strikes, you got one ball. You can afford to give up a ball in that particular situation. Like I said, situational awareness. Don't give up home runs on a play where you can have somebody chasing. Even if it counts as a ball, you can afford to give away a ball. It'll be 2-2. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. We don't need to be throwing fastballs right down the middle on. And this was a big hitter. I think this may have been against LA. So it's like, situations like that, we just got to be aware um, of who
I
we're
agree.
throwing to and not give those guys anything. You know what I mean? I know sometimes we like to think that we're a little bit more sneakier or smarter than the other players, but you can't ever underestimate. I don't even care how bad the team is overall. You can't underestimate players and baseball in some ways, shapes, and forms when you're on the mound, and you know, it's 1v1, at sometimes it feels like that. I know you got a team, I know you got guys behind you to where if you hit a pop up, if you hit something that is they can make a play on it, yeah, but um guys got to be accountable for their own individual play and what they contribute to the team and I do believe that Phillies are a team like that, that they are situationally aware. I think it's just that we've had to learn the hard way throughout the season about situational awareness. If Let me know if you understand what I mean by that.
No, I get what you're saying. I was gonna say, you have to situational awareness is key in any sport, realistically, but baseball for sure. Yeah, when you're up, like I agree with what you're saying. So like, it was Alvarado. I'm pretty sure he throws 100-mile-per-hour fastball. So I'm pretty sure when you were saying about Alvarado, it was probably Alvarado. Where he has a good sinker. Like you could have thrown a sinker there, to get him to chase with up 1-2. Situational awareness is critical because you beat yourself in those scenarios. You could say that with the, with the Eagles too, right? Just an example. Keep running Saquon Barkley when you know that they're plugging the hole. That's what they're doing. Situational awareness. Why are we running on first and second down? Come on, like you know what I mean? It's key. You have to be able to read the room, and in this terms, in sports, read the field or basketball, read the court.
Right.
You have to really be able to read defensively, or if you are defensively, if you're pitching, you have to be able to read what the other team is doing. And that's like a very simple breakdown, but situational awareness is absolutely critical. It's absolutely critical. So you go back to, prior years, Castellanos, right? He tends to swing at everything in the dirt. Like it's just, I don't know what it is. Like we used to have that issue with Ryan Howard. As good as he was as a power hitter, he would swing at a lot of things in the dirt. So Castellanos needed to be more patient with stop. That they from their situational awareness, what do they understand? They understand if you pitch it low and outside to him, he's probably going to chase. If you can get it close enough for that he can believe it's going to come in, you can. And his strike zone was like wide, like where he would swing. You just have to give it a little bit of look. Like it can't be so obvious you throw it at the ground as like a bounce ball coming in, but you have to make it somewhat believable. But he would swing at things that were crazy, and I'm just like, that's situational awareness. You have to understand. And these are grown men. I know that he probably does, but he still likes to. I don't know, man. They just like to chase balls that, like, what they're gonna do, right? Just hold off and just see the first couple of pitches come in and see. You know what I mean? If they're trying to get you to chase, you already know. Like, it's
I agree.
I don't know, man. It's a mind game, dude. It's a mind game.
It's the same way, and the same thing works reverse when you're
Yes.
batting too. So let's say you're up 3-1, so you only got one. You only got one strike, and you got 3 balls. If someone's throwing the ball at you and it's anywhere near that box, are you going for it, Steve? Are you swinging with 2 strikes? Not 2 strikes, 2 balls and 1 strike. Are you swinging at that? 3 balls and 1 strike. Are you swinging at that? We've had many of those instances where that has happened, and our guys, watch the fastball right down the middle, man. When even if you would have swung, it wouldn't have necessarily affected you to the extent that maybe you thought, hey, I'd be out if I missed this swing, or I'd be out if I hit a foul ball. It's no way that can happen. So why not just go for the swing? Why not just take? And I think they've gotten more confident with just pulling the trigger. These guys, I forgot what game it was. It's so many games throughout the season, but I know within some point between that Mets game and now, it's the confidence level towards pulling the trigger has definitely improved significantly, and they're going to have to take that into the playoffs and understand how important that is to have the reassurance in yourself that, hey, look, I can swing at this, not chase. I can swing at it if I have 2 balls and 1 strike. It's not going to be the end of the world, and it's like, the quality of hits. It's a whole lot of details that go into baseball. Some guys just throw bullets, and all you can do is swing. And I think that's what happened with Duran too. When I think we had lost that 4th LA game, and when Duran was trying to close out. I could be wrong. It may have been the Mets series, but Duran was trying to close out, and he gave up. He had 3 balls and 1 strike. And I remember he gave up a home run, and it cost us the game, kind of. I mean, it was other factors too with the how the batting was, like you mentioned earlier. But just remember, like, our falls or our losses as lessons. Like these are all lessons that are supposed to take us into Red October, and hopefully they can play like that. Like, and you mentioned the birds. It's the same thing with the birds. It's like we're learning a lot of things now so that we could take that into the playoffs with us later. But right now is the Phillies' time to approach the playoffs, so we're definitely going to be a little bit more critical of this team down towards the end of the season, end of the regular season. So, yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's accumulation of everything, That's why it's a long 162-game season. You take the lessons that you've learned throughout the season. And the Phillies, they're not like on an extreme hot streak, but they did have some solid series wins down the stretch here in September. You take this into the playoffs, and I think this is like a rally too for Wheeler, right? You don't have Wheeler playing. Wheeler might never come back. I'll be honest. I think he might be done for his career with the injury. So this is a rally to get Wheeler a ring too. Yeah, all valid points you made. This is the accumulation. This is what you take from it. This is what it's about, what you build from. And the good thing is the Phillies are not a novice to the postseason now. A lot of these players have been here and have seen this. Harper's been here the whole way, right? He's been here, the last 3 years. And you had who else is it? Kyle's been here, and like all these guys have been here. Trey's been here the last 2 years in the postseason. So all these guys, JT's been here the whole time. So these guys are not novices to the postseason. I mean, we added Bader, We have some other new pieces, but a lot of this team has been here. They've been to the postseason. There hasn't been a ton of change in the last 2 years, or last 3 years, and especially the last 2 years. So a lot of this team has been here, and you know what the stakes are, and we know what we're here to win. It's not to, 3 years ago it was cute. You get a nice little playoff run and you get to go to the World Series, but you lose. There was no expectations. 2 years ago, very disappointing. You lose in 7 games in the NLCS. Last year, even more disappointing. You lose to a division rival in the Mets, in the NLDS. So it seems like we're going backwards each year. We get to the World Series, we go NLCS, NLDS. And I hate to bring this up, but if you guys actually look back to the year that the Phillies won the World Series, it was a decline like this. They won the World Series in 08. 09, they get back to the World Series. They lose to the Yankees. 2010, they go and they play the Giants in the NLCS, and they lose. And then you look the year before that, I heard they play the Cardinals in the NLDS and lost. And I was just like, man, it's a declining thing. And I'm like, I don't want to bring this against the team, but I really hope that we break that pattern this year. I don't want to. Here's the thing. I guess we already kind of did because we did get the bye, so we're not losing in the wild card rounds. So I guess
Right.
that would be worse, But yeah, we definitely have to get out of the NLDS. And the NLDS might be our hardest matchup in the NL. There's no guarantee that the Brewers beat the Padres or the Cubs. You know what I mean? And that happened 3 years ago. Actually, not last year, but 2 years ago and 3 years ago, the Phillies beat the Braves in round 1, and the Braves were the harder team than the Padres. The Padres were able to upset the Dodgers, which means we didn't have to face the Dodgers in the NLCS, so we went to the World Series. And I'll be honest, as much as we lost to the Diamondbacks were considered the easier matchup. They beat the Dodgers too, I believe. So we haven't had to play the Dodgers in the playoffs those 2 years. We escaped them, because they were upset those 2 years. And then last year, of course, they won the World Series. So it'll be hard if we have to play the Dodgers and the Brewers. That's going to be hard. But I got confidence the Phillies can do it. We've been here more than the Brewers have. That's for sure. Dodgers have been here though too. Obviously, they won the World Series last year. So this might be our toughest test in the NL. We'll see. We have to get out of this round first.
That's good because it's like you either the iron sharpens the iron or you get thrown away type of situation. So
Yeah.
we're either going to grow from this and win, or we're going to lose and grow from it anyway. Hopefully, we can kind of continue to move forward with Bader because Bader has been a new addition that has been really great hitting, line drives specifically. He's been fast on his feet too. Like I said, when we're playing good, when we're playing together as a team, as opposed to an individual, you know, you're throwing certain balls to make sure that you can get your teammate in a position to stop it, or you're throwing the ball so hard, like Duran, you're blowing it by them before they can even take a swing. So I do think us having Duran make it a force multiplier of why we could win, and yeah, man, I have to agree with you on this one, man. Just take the lessons as you go along, and I know it sounds like very general, right? But it's not. It's actually a lot deeper than you think it is, especially for someone being a former athlete myself and being in the minds and psyche of an athlete. That's why a lot of times when Phillies, things don't work out for them, the players are usually like, "Oh, I don't know, man. Like, I just didn't hit well tonight." Like, well, how are your habits on the field? Do they study your habits on the field? Like, do you need to change some things?
I think it's a mix between this is a team that's been here, right? You've seen it, so
I
you get
agree.
so you get the side of poise, but also you don't want so much poise that you're overconfident. You need to have that hunger in you too. Like you haven't won the World Series, so you have to have that hunger that like almost like the 2022 hunger, where you come in and you have to come in hungry, but you also want to be poised, because you're a team that's been here. So you take the lessons from those last 3 years being here and understanding what went wrong last year in the Mets series, what happened 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago they just got very complacent. You go up 3-2. You could have never told me that the Phillies were going to lose that series going up 3-2. I'm like, even if they lose Game 6, they're not losing Game 7. Last two games were in Philly. I'm like, no way.
I'm pretty sure, like, especially when they're playing home in Red October, those fans are going to let them hear anything wrong happening, anything just stalling out, wherever it's the batting offense, and rightfully so. I'm not taking anything from Atlanta because Atlanta's just trying to sorry, not taking anything from Atlanta, but I'm not taking anything from Philly. But what I'm trying to say is like you're going to be challenged in ways that you're not challenged during the regular season, but the regular season gave you a glimpse of that, and the Phillies have to be aware of what they're stepping into. They have to be able to take the criticism. And from what I've seen so far during the season, the players were able to take criticism pretty fairly from the fans. I know if we go back towards situations like the Jimmy Rollins situation all the way back then, when the fans had you gave him a little piece of their mind, and he ended up calling Phillies fans fake fans. But obviously that situation got patched up and things move forward. But I think this goes into a lot of the athletes that are, in this town, specifically talking about guys like AJ Brown, big stars, Bryce Harper. The, you know, this is going to be a town where if you put something out there, everyone's going to have something to say, and
Alec Bohm,
everyone's going to
remember
have an
that?
opinion. Sorry,
And
what you say?
remember Alec Bohm when he said he hated it, he's like, "Damn, I hate this. I hate these fans or something. Or I hate this city." And then he came back and he apologized and he had a big game and then he kind of won the fans over again. But he was like,
Exactly.
he was caught saying, "Man, I hate this city or something." And I was like, and this was years ago. This happened.
Remember Turner?
What's that? Yeah, Turner.
Yeah,
They had to clap. They had to clap for Turner. Yeah, it's a lot of people in this city. You have Ben Simmons, member, stay on that side to the fans, member, like, and it's like, yeah, they get into it with the fans, or Embiid had yelled at the fans or something. Then he went on the court and he like clapped or like just joked around and like was having fun. The fans started going back for him again. It's just how it is. Like a lot of this city, it's just it's a tough love city. It's just how this is. I'm not gonna lie, fans get a little much at times. It's almost like a love hate relationship, right? There's times in relationships, right, where you want to bash each other's heads in. There's other times where everything, it's all love. You know what I mean? It's just that's how this city is. This city is very tough love. They're gonna tell it to you straight. They're gonna hold you accountable, and that's just how we are here in Philadelphia. And a lot of people they don't tend to understand that because we're not like any other city. We're very unique in how we do things. I'll say, in basketball, Knicks fans very much same way with their teams. You know, um, depending on the sport, but we're a tough crowd for like 4 for 4, man. We're tough. Sixers fans, same thing. Boos will start rising. You're not playing up to your standard. Flyers fans too. Same thing. We obviously know how Eagles fans are.
Yeah,
They were booing. They were booing with Pachulo's offense, Kevin
yeah,
Pachulo's offense.
he
When it
deserved
was
it.
stagnant, deservingly so. Yeah, in that Rams game, in that first half, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, -1 passing yards at halftime was crazy. Like, how do you have -1? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, man, and a lot of the things that we've seen are the normal go routes and things of that nature, just the same thing over and over and over again. And I think that Philadelphia is a blue collar town where we're hardworking.
It's a hard
So
city.
when
Yeah,
we sit down, we sit down after our hard days of work and we pick up a beer, or we pick up a bottle of water, or whatever we drink, or whatever we eat. We're watching our sports teams. There's a certain expectation that they're going to be working just as hard as we're working. At our jobs. Your job is to play sports. That's some of the best job. That's one of the best jobs in the world. All you got to do is play sports. Are you kidding me? And you're already naturally talented. You just have to continue to build off of what got you into the professional league in the first place, whatever professional league it may be. And I think that the Phillies fans deserve that. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, um, for as much support and revenue that our fan bases give these sports teams, they deserve a show. They deserve, for their players to put their best foot forward. And I think that's what, the Phillies players realize that, like I do see that, Even Harper was even talking about it. This town's gonna give it to you, and they love us. But guess what? When it's Red October, one thing's for certain. Yeah, we can give our own players and teams heat. But when it's Red October, and those guys step in to Citizens Bank Park, man, the other team's gonna be getting the earful, man. And so that's one thing that Harper actually said earlier this week, like, like these guys are going to have our back when we're walking into Citizens Bank Park, and pretty much, with Phillies fans, we hate everybody but the Phillies, and it's really it's that passionate, they know that LA Dodgers are going to be walking into a hostile atmosphere, um, and they know that it's their job to capitalize off that. Any mistakes, any errors, because we've seen it, man. We've seen it playing the Dodgers. We've seen it playing the Mets, where when they play in this park, you know the noise and the atmosphere, it just gets to some of the players, and they end up making errors and they end up making mistakes. I remember watching a specific Mets game when they had came, not the first one where we got swept, but the one where we won 3 in a row, and they were in our our territory in our town. And I remember it was a line drive down the middle, like a line drive, and player picked up, one of the players picked up. I think he was in between first and second. And he had got the line drive. He's getting it up in his hands, and then he just dropped it. Like it just bounced. Like, and everyone was yelling, everyone was screaming at Citizens Bank Park, and situations like that, man, affect players more than they would probably want to let on. So like you said, home field advantage is that, just to spell it out for some people who may not understand, may not be from Philadelphia, that's how big of an impact the fans have. So I feel great. I feel great about um Harper's batting. I feel great, obviously, about, man, Turner's
Well,
batting has improved.
Schwarber, yeah.
Bader's playing well. You know,
Kyle's gonna be Kyle. You know what I mean? He's always
Kyle's gonna be freaking Kyle, man. I'm not even gonna mention Kyle because
he's always great in the postseason though too. He always steps up. He has sometimes a
I don't
little
even have
cold,
to
but
talk about Kyle Schwarber. He's gonna show up no matter what.
yeah, he's gonna have to be the. They're gonna have to re-sign Kyle Schwarber in the offseason, by the way. Um, he earned it. It's crazy, man. He was 2 away from Howard. Howard had the franchise record with 58 homers, so he was 2 away from him. He had one game where he had 4 homers. It's gonna be interesting, man. But you're right, man. In terms of, this is a blue collar city, man. We expect a lot from our teams, and a lot of people actually wear their identity with these teams, right? I'm going to be honest. Sports is entertainment. We do have to understand how to unplug, but we do. It's a culture here in Philadelphia, man. I feel like when the teams are winning, the vibes inside of Philadelphia, inside the city, they're good. You know what I mean? They're good. Especially the Birds, right? Because the Phillies, it's like there's less game. I mean, there's more games, but in the postseason, man, we've seen it, man. That how this city erupts during Red October when the Phillies are winning. What were they playing 3 years ago to start it? Dancing on My Own. Like, I'm right over here. Just everybody's just going nuts. And then, like, the last 2 years, yeah. So I guess they're still playing that. I actually had it in the promo for the pod, but it's like, yeah, this city just erupts, man. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's a culture. Like, Eagles fans, Phillies fans, Flyers fans are a big fan base too. And then you have your Sixers fans too, and your diehards, and even the Philadelphia Union, right?
Yeah.
It's how it is. It's gonna be it's a whole culture here, and we will let you know if you're not playing to your standards. We have expectations. I think the Phillies definitely have expectations to go to the World Series this year. It's expectations, and you got 2 tough teams in the NL with the Brewers and the Dodgers, but. Brewers especially, we've been here more. We're hungry. Dodgers just won the World Series last year, so it's kind of in the conversation. Like, everything's earned, but it's our turn.
Yeah.
It's our turn to get back there and I don't worry as much. We'll worry about the AL when we get there, man. But I think that the tougher challenges are in the NL. You get out of the NL, and it's like you go to the AL. Whereas the year when they went to the World Series and played the Astros were no joke. They had already won a World Series, and they were no joke. Um,
Right. Yeah.
Excited to see. It's going to be interesting. It's completely off topic too. All I keep seeing on my social media feed is it's nothing to do with baseball. It's to do with football. All the people, bashing that Bad Bunny's going to be at the Super Bowl concert. It's crazy. What's wrong with y'all? Like, it's insane. I don't understand the hate. I don't understand it. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. It's like,
There's people bashing it on your timeline. Everyone's happy on my timeline.
yeah, no, I know a lot of people that are happy on my timeline, but I'm seeing like people like you're just seeing like things like people in like the media, like not just the media, but like I'm seeing things on like Black Adam Schefter page and stuff like that. People are like out here like just completely like pissed off that Bad Bunny's like and like there's a guy I follow. He's in Philly. His page name is Eddie and Chooch. His dog passed away in May. It was really really sad. His dog's name was Chooch, but he has another dog named Cece. But his fiance or wife is Hispanic. It's funny. He said he had people asking him. He's a white man. Yeah, people asking him, Eddie, what do you think about Bad Bunny has the Super Bowl? He's like, I love it. Like he's like, what? He's like he's been in Puerto Rico. He's like, I love the culture. I love the people. He's like, it's like, what's there not to like? It's like, and I don't know. I just think people tend to also forget. Puerto Rico is United States territory. Like it's like people always forget that. They're like, I don't understand the hate, man. It's insanity to me. It's like people are just not open minded. It's crazy. It's a lot of closed minded people.
Yeah, they said ICE is going to be at the Super Bowl. So that just goes to I chuckled. I chuckled a little bit when I heard about that myself too. So I mean, it's funny, man. We're all humans. We're all people just trying to make a living. I don't think anyone should be villainized for wanting a better life. I know it may not be always the best route, but then again, when has anyone always taken the best route for something in life? I'm sure I can name some things that we've all done, and myself included, where we didn't take the best route, but we did it for self-preservation.
Yeah,
So
I've fucked up so many times in different things in my life, man. It's like, yeah, we've all had fuck ups in this life and all had mess ups. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
about the accountability and taking things. Yeah, I can understand it from both sides, man. A lot of us don't understand because we're born in the United States, so we're born with a specific lifestyle and everything like that. And everybody's circumstances aren't the same either. You know what I mean? Everybody's circumstances. That's why it's so important to really try to understand and have empathy for people, man. People don't have that. There's a lot of people lack empathy.
right.
A lot of people are very close-minded. It's like, and that's something we need to change. Like we need to, but unfortunately, there's just going to be some people that just aren't going to change. It's always going to be the same. And I don't know, man. Let's get to know other people's cultures and actually understand. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
There's just so much closed-mindedness. I mean, it's crazy. I try to stay off social media as much as I can because it's like especially like places like Facebook, because like every time I'm on Facebook, it's like I got people down like they're sharing like one side of the timeline, like it's crazy. It's just they are like one side hates the other and the other side hates the other, and it's like everybody is just so divided. Whereas like that's what the media wants. That's what they want. We need to come together. And as a Christian, I love all people. So I'm not a perfect person, but I love all people. So you know what I mean? It's just
we should embrace the differences. We should embrace that there are Democrats and Republicans and people who think
100%.
differently, but we've been kind of programmed to villainize each other. I think
Yeah,
it's good to have differences. If everyone thought the same way, or if everyone we basically be a dictatorship, or we basically be a communist country at this point, where or we'd be a fascist country. We be a country that is just not. It's a ignorant. It's only one way of thinking. It's one way of believing things, and people who think differently are too scared to speak up. So that's why I don't lean either much one way or the other way,
I
because
agree
both ways have their extremists on both sides. There's leftist
100%.
extremists and there's right wing extremists. So this is the beautiful thing about sports, people. This is the beautiful thing
Brings
about
everybody
Philadelphia,
together.
and the Phillies and the Eagles and the Sixers and the Union and the Flyers and
Sports brings us together. Like
it
it brings
brings
us
us
together.
together.
It doesn't divide.
You know,
That's the
it,
critical part.
we're bumping. We're out here bumping Dominican music and Puerto Rican music, and these are different cultures that we're embracing. And talking about like Duran's entrance, music is an epic. It's known as one of the best entrances in the MLB, and yet it's a completely different culture that made that music, but it helps us open our minds and become open to things that are different. And that's the beautiful thing about sports is that people say, oh, I was with this one girl I was talking to, and I remember she had told me, she was like, well, what's so special, why do you care so much about players who don't know you, or why do you care so much about a sport that you don't play? But the thing about it is, it's more than just a sport. It's more than just the players. It's about the culture in this city that's attached to those things and the influence that it has on the people. And
I,
I mean, I met a few players myself, and they left a pretty good impression upon me. Especially Brandon Graham was one of my highlights of meeting.
that's awesome.
Newly retired Eagle Brandon Graham was an amazing experience, and he was an awesome dude. And we snapped pictures, we talked up a little bit, and even him pushing his daughter on the stroller, it taught me something, man. Doesn't matter how big or macho you are, or what your profession is, or what you're doing, man. You're never too good to have your children and be there for them and be there for your family. You're never to anything. You're at the end of the day, he's still a father. At the end of the day, we're all people. And that's the thing that sports teaches us. That we all have something in common, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that truly does. It's like that's the one thing I do love about sports, though. It's like how it brings everyone together instead of dividing. This one thing that isn't, it's not talked about enough, right? Like we're always so divided in this country. And I agree with you, man. I'm more moderate, and the reason because of that is because I'm a free thinker, right? I like to critically think, So you could vote for a specific presidential candidate. You don't have to agree with every single thing they do, but does it outweigh it a little bit compared to the other? This is things that people need to understand. I feel like people think if you vote one way, like, or you believe certain ideologies, I got to believe every single thing they say. Or if you're the other way, I got to believe every single thing. No, it's not true. It's like, and that's exactly why it would be a dictatorship if everybody agreed. We have to critically think. We have to try to understand each other's point of views. And hey, we might be able to learn something from other people's point of views, which is why it's very critical to listen, to really understand and try to understand other people's point of views. If you don't take the time to actually be open-minded and have those conversations, it's like, hey, it's difficult. But I love sports, man, because sports really does bring people together. Of course, you got fans of other teams, you're arguing and stuff. Healthy fans who aren't like toxic, scumbags who are out here pouring beers on fans or throwing stuff at play, because I've seen it before. And I'm going to be honest, I've seen it from my own home team with the Eagles. Fans get absolutely insane. I'm going to be honest, we don't play those types of fans because that's ridiculous. But the fans that it's all trash talk, it's all love. You know what I mean? We were going back and forth with 49ers fans a couple years ago. Remember that? We were down at Xfinity and we were going back and forth with these Niners fans. We're getting a little aggressive, during the game. But at the end of the day, we shook hands. It's all love. We see them in the playoffs. Like it's all love. It's sports, man. Like it's not the end of the world. It's like, we're just trash talking, defending our teams. We got spanked pretty bad in that game too. So we kind of had to eat our own words, but it's sports, man. And then remember, there were a couple girls that came up, and what did they do? They took the guy's hat off, trying to get in with what we're doing. And I think because they're women, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they can't be touched. Took this guy's hat off, his 49ers hat, threw it on the ground.
Yeah.
It's like,
That was
yo.
I was like, what? I had to take her aside and tell her, like, listen, you can't do that. That's someone's personal property. That's their personal space. And on top of that, at the end of the day, this is a game and we're all supposed to enjoy it together. What are we doing here?
I agree. It's like, it's a game. But what it was, they had been drinking. So a little, they had drinks in them, and then they get a little crazy. And then this guy got right in her face. And it's like, and see, in those scenarios, what do? You expect a man to jump in and defend you. I'm sorry, you're not my woman. You know what I mean? You're not my woman. It shouldn't have to be my responsibility now that I potentially get jumped because I'm coming in to defend you. You're not my girl. You're not my woman. It's like, yo, if that's my girl, that's my wife. Of course, I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down dying before like but it's like, yo, you're not my woman. Like I shouldn't have to come in here and defend you because you're acting a fool coming up in here acting like that. That's wild to me. It's like, but it's not just women. So I'm not just shouting out y'all women. Men do the same thing. They get loaded, drink too much, that are throwing beers or pouring beers on people, throwing food, throwing stuff. It's like, yeah, we don't condone that shit. It's about respectfulness. You can yell toxic stuff and yell BS, and it's like at the end of the day, it's all love. Don't put your hands on people. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't throw things at people. It's like, but
speaking of men, by the way, I don't know if you remember the last time Cowboys made it to the playoffs, and they got their behinds whooped in the first game that they played in the playoffs. They got eliminated the last time Cowboys got eliminated from the playoffs. I actually specifically remember this Cowboys fan. He went to the stadium with his wife. By the end of the game, he actually got jumped by 3 other male Cowboys fans. So it just goes to show, hey, it's not just Philly that, maybe the media likes to emphasize Philly a lot. But if you go down and you look at what's going on in Oakland, California with the Raiders fans, you go down and you look at what's going on there with some of the 49ers fans, some of the Cowboys fans, man.
New York.
These guys are in the stadiums fighting each other and jumping each other and punching on each other. So, it's not going to be put on ESPN the next day. Now, if it was the Eagles fans that did that, it would be on ESPN the next day.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I remember what was it, years ago during COVID, Trae Young and the Hawks were playing the Knicks, and they beat the Knicks in like 5 games. And I remember there was a Knicks fan that spit on Trae Young. I was like, yo, if that was a Sixers fan, that was a Philly fan. That was foul, man. Like he freaking spit on him. Yo, here's the thing, during a freaking pandemic, he went and he spit on Trae Young, dude. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, yo, if that was Philadelphia, and remember Boston fans too. Remember they threw a beer at Kyrie Irving?
Yeah,
man. Boston fan chucked a beer right at his head.
New York fans are pretty ruthless, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Especially Knicks fans. Yep.
Knicks fans are wild.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear anyone talking about Philly fans because, to be honest with you, man, the worst thing I think that I've seen personally with us in recent memory is probably when the Vikings fans came over back in 2017. And they came to our stadium for the NFC Championship. And I remember people were throwing full can beers at Vikings fans as they were walking into the stadium. And they were chucking them from far range, though. That is no joke. That is high up in the air, and that is landing on people. So, yeah, that's not good. Also, it got a little frisky when 49ers fans came, to the stadium as well.
Yeah,
I know they had some good fun with Joey Bosa coming by to see his brother Nick play, and I don't know if you remember Bosa. Yeah, that was actually pretty funny. So I do enjoy some of our banter sometimes.
Yeah, Joey Bosa fell right for the trap, man. He fell right for the trap. Yo, if I was Joey Bosa, I wouldn't even respond, man. It's like, yo, you can say whatever. I'll be like, yes. Like at the end of the day, like I'm secure with myself. It is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but it's wild, man. Grown NFL players, man. It's like, yo, getting like wrapped up. It's like, yo, the Eagles fans, they got him, man. They really did. They got under his skin, which is hilarious. He's just like, what do you say? He's like, oh, your little butt buddy boyfriend or something. I'm like, bro, like this dude's an NFL athlete. Like, yo, like at the end of the day, it's like, I hate to sound cocky, but it's like, yo, you ain't even on my level in life, man. What you talking about?
But he said, but he did mention that. I think Joey Bosa was like, he was like, he made some type of comment about him being rich and that fan being poor. He was like, and the thing is though, it kind of backfired because the fan actually laughed right back at him and said, "Hey, I'm rich too." He said, "What do you think I'm doing here? I afford front row tickets." He's probably money. I wouldn't have mentioned.
Oh yeah, he's probably rich. He probably ain't Joey Bosa rich, but he's probably he might have money. He ain't Joey Bosa money, but like at the end of the day, yeah, he said something like, well, I can afford it or something. The guy's like, so can I. And then the guy's like, ha, 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 bye, Bosa or something.
Yeah, he got you, man. He got you, both.
Like his girlfriend's like trying to drag him away, or I don't know if it's his wife. I don't know if he's married, but like I thought it was funny. I'm just like, wow, dude. Like we really do get under fans' skins, which is funny. It is funny. It's all but that's all talk. You know what I mean? You're just going back and forth. You know, now somebody would threw something at him, like, yo, y'all are messed up. But ultimately, the whole reason we're talking about this is there are exceptions, but at the end of the day, sports is mostly it's all love. Like we all come together, we're all watching sports. It's not like politics where everything is so divided. And I understand why there are some divide, because there's just some people, there's people that are extreme on both sides, and that's the problem. It's like we got people that are so black and white in one way of thinking and so black and white on the other side. And it's like that is what pushes the divide. You know what I mean? We need more free thinkers. We need more people that are open-minded, more people that can be empathetic and try to understand each other. And that's what it comes down to. It's like so many people get caught up in the, well, why should I be open-minded because that person's not? Yeah, but let's not set the tone by doing that. You know what I mean? What do they say? What's the famous saying? It's like two wrongs don't make a right. So let's try to set the precedent by being the example. So it's like, as a Christian, it's like I love everybody. So it's like I don't have any hatred. I don't have any ill will. And I'm not up here to be up here and act like I'm perfect, because I'm Lord knows I ain't. Lord knows I'm not perfect. But it's just about be the change you want to see. That's also a great quote. Be the change that you want to see. So
great, brother. Amen.
That's amen. Indeed. It's like, yo, be the change you want to see. It's like let's start by, not being so divided. And this whole conversation kind of started from this is because, like, if anybody is tuning in a little later, it's like we were talking about the halftime show. We drifted from like baseball to all over Philly sports, and we were just talking about how people were like, there were some like kind of racial comments that were like said, about like Bad Bunny, like it was it's going to be covering the Super Bowl halftime show. He's going to be performing. There were some racial comments. It's just like it's crazy that we're living in 2025 and we're still dealing with this. It's like, I'm hoping as the generations, we need to stop carrying this into these generational curses into our future generations. And it's crazy that we're still dealing with this. It's like insane. It's like, yeah, even if you can't understand the lyrics, just vibe. You know what I mean? Just, the music is still good to vibe. It's like, and even if you don't like it, just turn it off. Like, I don't understand what the issues are. People get so upset and they're just like,
that's their problem, bro. At the end of the day, Bad Bunny don't care, bro. He's going to be going there, making his money,
living his life,
selling out seats, making history. He knows at the end of the day for him and, the Puerto Rican community, it's si se puede all day, he knows he's going to go in there and do his thing. And everyone else who's mad about it, they're just gonna have to fucking deal with it. Excuse me.
Yep, it's like
y'all just have to deal with the man making money and making millions on American soil. And like Steve said, Puerto Rico is American territory, so I don't understand what the ICE thing is there. But whatever. Who am I? I don't make the decision.
I love it, man. Yo, so many people get so much to get their freaking panties in a wad. It's like, yo, it's just it's crazy to me. It's like, y'all really. I always say this: just sit back and stay quiet on social media, and you see people's true colors come out. Me and my barber a couple weeks ago were talking about that. It's like all you gotta do is just sit back, stay quiet. People reveal who they truly are. Like it's wild. Like you just, even with the whole thing with when George Floyd died or when Charlie Kirk died, you just see how people react to certain circumstances and how they move, and it's almost just like all you gotta do is stay silent and just observe. And you see how people move to different things. It's like, but it's a shame. Here's the thing. I don't try to judge anybody because it's like everybody comes from different backgrounds, maybe they were brought up certain ways. That's where their views come from, but we need to be better. You know what I mean? It's like we have to use critical thinking. And if you were brought up in these generational curses where your thinking is, skewed a certain way, we have to try to be more open-minded and empathetic towards one another. And it all starts with we can't use the excuses though from childhood. I will say, like, yeah, I do have empathy for people that were brought up certain ways with their viewership, but there's so many resources out there nowadays. Is we do have to be accountable as grown adults, grown men and women out here. We got to be accountable. While we may have been brought up in specific environments, we do have the power to change our views. So
It's true. You gotta want to change though first, and then
you
get out
do.
of that ignorance. And
Yeah.
you're right. Have some empathy for other people, but also understand that if your opinion or the way you think entails valuing someone based off of their skin color, valuing someone based off of their social economic situation, or even valuing someone off of their identity, the time or who, whatever the case may be, even if you don't agree with it, to mistreat someone or to talk bad about someone because of those things um it makes the person seem ignorant, and it makes especially people like myself, being someone who is a minority, I'm not necessarily going to value that opinion as much as I'm going to value, say, your opinion, Steve, of someone who doesn't think like that, or someone who has an open mind, or is at least willing to listen to a different perspective. So that's the big part for me, is like to have I guess you could say, like a negative way of thinking, or bigotry, and not even want to hear other sides or other experiences. And so um yeah, man, but that's, again, sports brings us all, it all comes back to sport. Sports is influential economically, politically, socially. So sports had and so
It
yeah,
really
man.
is. It really is, man. Look at if we go back to baseball, Jackie Robinson. You know what I mean? Jackie Robinson, being the first black player to come in a time in a time where he came in the time frame back then when there was segregation, all the racism that was going on in the world back then. You look at it, yeah. How many times did they call him every name in the book? Every name in the book that he got called. From a racial standpoint. If you guys haven't seen the movie 42, highly recommend it. Big movie, came out 2014. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. Solid movie, but it really does go to show sports really does. It changes different things. And, nobody wanted Jackie Robinson in the league at that time. And, whatchamacallit, I forget what the guy's name was who brought him in, like the commissioner for the league. Brought him in, though. And you know what I mean? He said, I don't care. He came in and he accepted Jackie and he brought him in, and this is why sports is different. And I think that's why Mike Missinelli, who was on 97.5 The Fanatic, they brought him back and let him go again. He was bringing politics like onto the radio and not being open minded, but completely just putting his opinion and his hate like years ago on the radio. That's why I was let go. I'm like, people got tired of that. Like, people wanted to talk sports and about coming together, and this guy's dividing. And then they brought him back, and he still got phased out. But this is the thing. It's like sports really does. It can bring people together, and it's like, and it can bring, you know what I mean, in different ways. It's just in different ways, So if people ever say like, why do you like sports? Why do you like this? It's like, I will say that it's just like, it's a sense of community. You just have to differentiate it as entertainment though too. A lot of people, I think, wrap their identity in sports. And I will say there's a fine line that you don't want to wrap your identity in sports, because it's like, I don't play for the Eagles. I have an Eagles hoodie on right now. I rep the Eagles, of course. I'm from Philly. That's my squad. But at the end of the day, I also understand it is entertainment. The names that are on my jerseys are on my back. I'm not that player. That's what they do for a livelihood. But for me, it's community. It's like, we get together with our brothers, our girls, like, all that stuff. And you watch the games and stuff, and that's what it's about, And then you get to raise your generation, right? You get to raise your kids into that same type,
Culture.
into that same culture, right? Bring them
It's a culture, man. It's a culture, and even the way that I agree with you in the you're not that player, you're not that person.
right.
That the thing I will say though is players can still have an influence on other people by the way
100%.
that they carry themselves,
I
and
agree.
so that's what I would say. There's a few Philly players that have influenced me and how I should carry myself, like in a
I'd say
professional
Jalen Hurts.
manner.
Jalen Hurts for one of them, I'd say.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is definitely one of them. Another one's definitely Brandon Graham, as I mentioned earlier about him just being a great father. Um, Another one I have to say is Jason Kelsey, man, being able to be a successful player and a legendary player in your own right, and then still be hungry enough to completely thrive in a completely different lane and
His
atmosphere.
podcast.
Talking about his podcasting, And so, that's the inspiration, man. You got a couple of Eagles players, man, who are successful in different ways and show that, hey, listen, I'm not just a football player on the field. I'm more than that. I'm a person too, and I have skills in other
Well,
areas too.
LeBron was that for me. You know what I mean? I saw how good of a father and husband LeBron was. As a husband and father, not an incredible athlete on the court, and then also a savvy businessman. I don't know how you can hate LeBron James. It's like I always had a lot of people I know that like did not like him. I think some things they didn't like his political views. They didn't like some things he said, and I'll be honest, there were certain things that I didn't agree with. We say politically, but I would say in terms of a family man, and an amazing athlete, arguably the best to ever do it. Maybe minus like Michael Jordan, and then you have him as an incredible family man, athlete, and then businessman too. It's amazing, and I respect what he did with his day ones with his friends. Maverick Carter, Rich Paul. Number one agent in the NBA, right? Those are his boys. He grew up with them, and he put them on. As he became successful. I love that. So when people would ever ask me why do you like LeBron so much, I was like, well, I like him not just as a player, but I like the other things outside. It takes a certain type of man, like I'll be honest, on LeBron's power to like, as far as we know anyway, he's never cheated on Savannah. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm like, because LeBron has the power to like, you know what I mean? A lot of men make the excuses to cheat. And if LeBron really is not cheating, I'm like, that's a man that has all the power in like in the world. He has all the power in the world to be able to do it. And it's like, I admire that man. Like, you know what I mean? He's a family man. He's a husband. He's a father. And you see what Bronny's doing now. I mean, he's not going to be ever a LeBron James, but I mean, he got his son in the NBA. I mean, like, and that's what it's about, man. You know what I mean? Bringing that, passing down that generation. And I love that, man. It's just,
Shout out to LeVar Ball too for getting two of his sons in the NBA.
I agree, man. I agree. LeVar would always say some wild stuff, but honestly, when you actually look at the actual picture, though, man, he did do some incredible stuff. Getting them in and putting them on. I agree. Building that brand. What was it? Big baller brand. I'm like, yo, I built a brand, and
yeah,
I can't hate that, man. I can't hate that. Like, I don't care how much. Like, of course, he says outrageous things, but I think some of it was just to, get them talking about him. You know what I mean? People have to also understand that people will say things to get people talking about your brand. So it's, what do they say? All publicity is good publicity. So it's like, but I respect that, man. Like, dude, it's like, yo, anything you can do to help your family or generations, like, yo, I respect that. So I agree with you, man, that it does sometimes go beyond the name on the back of the jersey. Is about how they carry themselves and what their character's about that we can resonate with and want ourselves to be better.
Yeah. Even what hurts, man, like even as annoying as his stoicness can be, because I even get annoyed sometimes by Jalen Hurts, like
show some emotion. You're like, show some emotion.
Show some emotion, dude. But the thing is, he's taught me like to be less emotional, bro. Like about certain things, even when like all these people talking about him, all these people like kind of disrespecting him, and he's able to just like zone it out, not even respond, not even think about it, not even talk about it, not even give it the time of day.
And the
like
critical
that
thing,
to me is like next level like professionalism that I told myself, man, I got to be like this in the workplace no matter what someone says or thinks about me, like and that's why so many people respect him, and so many people respect guys like Schwarber and Bryce Harper and stuff like that, because Schwarber and Bryce Harper also, like, even though they're not as stoic, they still able to take what the fans give them and put it on the field and leave it on the field. Like stuff like that, man. That is a tough thing to do, man. When you got people on your back, like a whole city on your back, a whole Philadelphia sports media on your back, and you still got the ability to just say a couple sentences, answer a couple questions, and you still got to remain professional. You can't really say exactly what you want to say the way you want to say it, but and you still got to go out there and you got to go out there and you got to make things work. You gotta make things happen. And so, I respect to those players, man. Respect to respect to Phillies.
I agree with that, man. It's every player is gonna have a different personality, right? Like you see, like how stoic Jalen can be. I do love that Jalen never switched up though. Like, see, there were a lot of people that said they wanted them to be more emotional and show emotions. Jalen still stayed true to who he was. You know what I mean? And then people would also get on AJ Brown. AJ Brown stayed true to who he is too. That's AJ Brown's character. It's how he is. Like, you know what I mean? I love that AJ's got the Joker thing on his Instagram, man. He likes to play the villain a little bit sometimes. But you know what? Everybody's different. Everybody's personalities are different. How they carry themselves. And, last year we had the whole issue with everybody was talking now that Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown hated each other. And then they had the Steelers game. And then they shook hands on like the touchdown dance and stuff. It's like, yeah, so people are going to talk. So it's like, let them talk. Anyway, go Phils. I do think the Phillies are going to win this series. I do. It starts on Saturday. You got to get game one. You're here in Philly. You got to take game one. I think that's very important. If you lose game one, now you got to win three out of the next four, and then it's going to be hard. Yeah. So it's a 5-game series. So take game one.
Listen, man, it's Red October. You said Friday. Yeah. The game is on Friday, right?
Saturday.
Sorry, I don't know why.
So it's Saturday, Monday, Wednesday are the first 3 games. So Saturday, and then they don't play again until Monday, which is probably good because the Eagles play on Sunday. So it's you get Phillies on Saturday, you get Eagles on Sunday, Phillies on Monday, and then the Phillies play again on Wednesday. So
yeah, man, I can't agree with you more. You got to win that first one. You're walking into Red October. You're walking into a pretty special atmosphere, and it's going to make us have momentum going in from the gate if we win that first game. That's
right.
Just,
we're more well rested than they are too. We've had more days off, so it's like this should be our.
Yeah, man.
This is our chance to shine, man. It's gonna tell you all about what this Phillies team is going to be about. If they lose game one, it's going to be problems. Not saying they can't turn it around, but it's going to be hard.
Definitely, because you just gave them the confidence that they can win in Citizens Bank if they win game one. They got a different level of confidence now that they didn't have before. Where it's
agree.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want them to come in here and have that.
Not for the Dodgers. No, hell no. Right. I wouldn't even give that confidence to the Mets. So definitely don't give it to the Dodgers. Dodgers this is a World Series winning team. So we have to play like, the Phillies have to play like it's a, World Series winning team, And so I know it sounds simple enough, right? No, but it's not just a regular baseball game. At that point, this game can give the Phillies the confidence to push past other teams in the playoffs, this is, not a, again, team to scoff at. So, yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah, you can't scoff. You gotta be able to just move forward, and it's all hands on deck, man. This is you gotta think of it, not a game. Come on, let's keep it moving. Like, we just gotta play our baseball. We're home. We got the crowd behind us. Let's go. Yeah, man, I'm pumped. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, man. So we got Phillies Braves. Phillies Dodgers Saturday. We got the Eagles versus the Broncos on Sunday, and we got Phillies Dodgers game 2 on Monday. Speaking of that, it's completely unrelated. I heard this weekend's gonna be beautiful though. I was looking, I was like, it's gonna be sunny and like 70s, 80s all the way through like till Wednesday. So
that sounds
guys. It's crazy for October. It's not even really fall weather yet, man. Mix of like shorts and like pants weather,
Facts.
Yeah, man, I think that's really all I got. I don't have anything crazy, but I love the discussion. We were able to we went from like Phillies baseball to like all around sports and like Eagles, and we talked put some political stuff in there too, and just talked about the Vide and all the other stuff. But ultimately, we just need to be better, guys. It's crazy. I don't really talk politics on here. My views are relatively moderate, but we just need to be better.
Yeah, man. I think we gave your audience a little bit of everything tonight. Throwing popular culture in there too, but yeah, man. It was definitely a pleasure talking sports. Sorry that we're not the most, descriptive about specific plays, but I think we went into specific players. We went into the offense and the defense in general, and we went into general feelings of the fans and organization as a whole going into this playoff game and to Red October. So thank you so much, Steve, for having me.
Yeah, man, that's what the platform's about, man. Just being on here to voice everything. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm always transparent on my channel. I did not watch all the Phillies games this year. It's 162 games. A lot of them, you know, I caught highlights, I caught different things, and I would listen to like sports news and stuff. But I'll be honest, I did not watch a ton of Phillies games this year. You know, I'm always transparent with that. But you know, the playoffs, I'm not gonna lie, get you hyped up, and you know, you follow them throughout the season, and you see the statistics and everything. But I'm excited. You know, guys, I'll host another one if the Phillies go to the World Series. So if we win these 2 rounds, you know, we beat the Dodgers, then we go and we beat whoever we play in the next round. I know we have like the next few episodes are all set up for personal growth, but I'll move one around if the Phillies get to the World Series. I'll probably have to move the one in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Like if they get to the World Series, I'll have to move that around. But we'll have another one if they get back to the World Series, like kind of like a hype party as we're going back. But we'll see. We'll see, man. Now we have to win the games in front of us first. But I'm excited, man. Eagles are 4-0. Phillies headed into the postseason. Don't sleep on the Philadelphia Union. They have a big thing this weekend too, right, Rich?
Yep. Dope. Let's get it. And they said they're in the race for the Supporters Shield. And this game, if they beat New York, yes, we are playing New York. Not the New York Dookie Red Bulls. We're playing NYCFC. So that is they're third on the table. We're first on the table. So I will be at that game. I will be rooting for Philadelphia Union to win that Supporters Shield that night, not the next night or not the next game, excuse me, but that night. Because if they win, they have to win that night to win the Supporters Shield. Not a draw, not a loss. They have to win. So excited for that game, man. Excited for Phillies.
If they win that, they get home field throughout the playoffs, right?
That is also true. Yes, if they win the Supporters Shield, they get home field advantage for the MLS playoffs en route to the MLS Cup. So yeah, go Philly everything.
Exactly. Let's go. I love it, man. I love it. You know, I'm not sure how much we'll see from the Flyers and the Sixers, man. So we got these 3 sports out of the other 5. So you know what I mean? So we got the Phillies, Union, and Eagles. So excited, man. Well, I just want to say thanks for coming on, brother. I know Rob told me he wasn't going to be able to make it. Marius, same thing. And then, you know, Tom and Chris, I guess couldn't make it either, man. But, you know, we make it work. You know, would do. And I'm sure if we go to the World Series, man, everybody will be trying to jump on. So,
yeah, man.
We'll see, man.
Yeah. Everyone will be on at some point. Exactly. So, yeah. Thank everybody. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Whoever's tuning in, sticking it out with us, listening, and chalking it up with us about Philly sports. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Go Phils. Go Union. Go Birds. Guys, enjoy your first weekend into October. Enjoy your fall festivities, all that good stuff. And yeah, let's get it.
Let's go, man. Stay locked in.
All right, guys. Stay locked in. Have a good night.